I would agree. You know, you're literally in the human performance business, right? I mean, this invention, and you as an innovator and as a scientific professional, that's your area, human performance, human safety. Wayne, I would say you equally, from a different direction in the end analysis, are about talent development and human performance. Would you both be kind enough to share for us? I mean, I think you share the same philosophy around failure, the need to break your ideas to make them better. Talk to us, though, about the normal response of the world around you to that philosophy. You know, I know from experience in working with Wayne on the Innovators Academy, the hardest challenge we have is to get the adults who are helping in the academy to get out of a frame of no. Get out of a frame of reference to no, and it goes back to Mike's point. You got to get to yes. If you're not going to get to yes, you're not going to get anywhere. But I think it's worth folks understanding what the response to the systems, the bureaucracy, the world around you is when you adopt that mindset and what you have to persevere through.
Well, I'll say I've heard both. I've heard things like from people who will actually be using the product. Wow, that's great. You know, when can we get one? You know, gosh, how can we make this happen faster? So I've heard the yes, but I've also, in trying to seek out, you know, when you're thinking about the design, now that we have the prototype, there's a lot of design features, and that's where Wayne really comes in as well. Choosing materials and choosing color and layouts and these kinds of things. I'm trying to really solicit the opinions of a lot of people who also could be using it, and what are their environments like, and what are their preferences. And a lot of people aren't interested. Oh, we've got that. And their mind really isn't quite as open as I wish it could be, or I'm not explaining myself well. So I've heard the no as well. But, you know, I don't expect everybody to understand, you know, if everybody has a different gift and a different talent, and I understand that some people may not be as interested in it, and they can only see it when it's a final product. But I guess one of the messages I would want to convey is everybody has a problem, and this was my problem, and I found a solution. So I guess, you know, if you break it all the way back down, I think if everybody understands if they have a problem and they look for a problem that means something to them, and they look for a solution, you know, they'll be able to be successful along this innovation route.
That's really your fountain for the resiliency it takes to get through the
Absolutely. Absolutely. If the problem means enough to you, and you want to find a solution, you will be everything diligent.
And I think the other piece of that is if it is important to you and you have a personal connection to it, you're never going to be completely satisfied with the way it's working. And so you're always going to be constantly looking for ways to improve. We talk to companies that are young startup companies, and they'll be 7 or 8 years into something, and they say, well, now the whole world thinks they know what we do, but we need to be doing something more. We need to be doing something better, because otherwise this is going to stop right here. And we're not going to have the future that we could have if we are constantly looking for other ways to improve, or other markets to move into, or a new way to think about it, or just continually rehashing that process, or going back through that process. And it prevents you from becoming stagnant whenever you do those kinds of things, which is really important as you continue to move forward with it. I mean, I've heard Sharon, she talked about, I really didn't want to be a business person. And you might could elaborate on that a little bit, but you know, she said, but in order to get my prototype to a state where somebody else could adopt it, I've got to do this.
Right. Well, I think, you know, that brings up an interesting point. Some people go out they seek to be an inventor because they want where it could take them perhaps financially, or they want the life of an entrepreneur. That certainly was not why I went down this path. In my opinion, and I don't base this on anything more than my own experience, that would close my mind to problems. My mind was wide open when I stumbled upon this problem, which is, as you mentioned, it found me. So when it found me, you know, all the potential solutions, I was just kind of going through every possibility in my brain. And somewhere along that process, even after the, you know, after the initial idea, but also after the patent's been issued, I'm having to sort of put on this new hat, which I didn't sort of sign up for when I had this initial problem and what I thought was a simple solution, to now be a business person because I have a prototype. Well, I need these things to get into our world, to help other professionals with the same problem. So either we license it out to another company that may or may not understand our market and my problem, or I start making them and then maybe they'll catch on. But I don't know that another company, another scale company out there will understand my problem and have the same passion. And what I would hate is that this goes nowhere. And so for that reason, I'm utilizing other departments at the university that are trying to support the entrepreneurship. And the university wants faculty to be successful with the inventions that we might have come about. And so there are some, support system, there is a support system there to help us navigate getting a small business started. And for me, it's not about trying to create another career. It's really just about the product and solving the problem.
Absolutely. I mean, it sounds like you feel like you're in an environment that will support that dual role.
I am, but it's hard.
But it's hard.
I'm an academician, I'm a researcher, I'm an educator, I'm an athletic trainer, I'm all those sort of things I'm very comfortable with. I am not a small business owner, and I am not really sure about this whole entrepreneur. There's a lot of things you just don't know that you don't know. And I'm kind of learning them by mistake as well.
And I think sometimes people feel like, well, unless I can get a patent on this, it's not worth doing. And I can tell you that there are people who, she was talking about patents and those. I can tell you I know people who have patents on things, and it has not led to any kind of business. That was not the purpose of it. That was not the function of it. That's not the way that happens. But it was still very much worth doing. There are people who will have ideas that are not patentable, but they're still very much worth doing. So that's not necessarily the golden ticket. You may do things under a copyright or a trademark or those kinds of protections, but there are things that are just worth doing because you have a passion for doing them, whether or not they ever lead to a patent or any of those kinds of things. And she talked about businesses. I know a lot of businesses that have no patents. Think about the scullery. What kind of patent does the scullery have? None, but they're a successful business. So those two things are not synonymous with one another at all. But I think you can be an innovative person in your everyday life and in everything that you do just by taking the approach of being proactive whenever you see things that need solutions. And those kinds of things are all around you. You just got to kind of learn to get in tune with it to be able to take advantage of those opportunities.
Right.